take recreation shirt. Love that woman. Hello besties, it's Carol. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video, we're back in like the OG spot. Today I'm just going to be talking about like 20-ish books that I kind of have on the end of my year TBR. Obviously there's probably a lot more that I want to read. I'm going to talk to you guys about my knowledge of them or lack thereof. Make sure to follow all my socials down below, along with goodreads, my Amazon wishlist, stuff like that is linked down there if you want to check it out. Like, comment, and subscribe for more videos by me. And let's just get right into it. This first little section are just some new releases that are coming out in this second half of the year that I want to get to. Hopefully I don't put them off for too long. Again, I could be missing some. First one is Daydream by Hannah Grace. This actually comes out at the end of the month. It's the third book in the Maple Hill series, I think that's what it's called. This is about Henry, who is like a fan favorite. I loved him since book one. I don't really remember what this one is really about. I think Henry's like having trouble in classes, and then this girl, her name could be Hallie. I think I'm making that up. This girl like ends up tutoring him or helping him in some way. I think it's like that kind of situation. I'm so excited for Henry's story. Hannah Grace's writing style is just very easy to get through. Hoping for some hockey involved somehow. We'll be reading it this hockey season. All right, next book, which I'm so excited about because it sounds good, is Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. So if y'all watched my releases video, I read Wild Love and didn't really actually love it. Like, I thought it was okay, but like I just didn't connect to the characters or the plot at all. This is the second book. This is about the female main character from the first book, her brother. Apparently, like, the female main character in this book is like a country singer. She comes to this small town in Weston, and he is a single dad. I think this whole series is gonna be single dads. And yeah, it's just a romance story. I feel like it could be fun. I feel like the vibes in this one could be good because it is a small town, but it's not necessarily like a cowboy romance series, which is different from anything that Elsie Silver has written. So I feel like this one could give the vibes that I want it to. Maybe bringing in this country singer will give us the country vibes. Fingers crossed. So this one comes out early September, I think like September 3rd or something. Next up is a cowboy romance, which y'all know. It's by Lila Sage, Lost and Lassoed. This is the third book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series. This is about Teddy and Gus, I believe, is the two main characters. And basically Teddy is one of the best friends of the girl from the first book, and Gus is her brother, so it's best friend's brother. Enemies to lovers because they do not like each other. Like, they genuinely do not like each other. If you read throughout the first two books, like, they just are always back and forth with each other, and I just am so intrigued to find out why they don't like each other. Why don't they like each other? I believe Gus is a single dad as well. He talks to the mom, but like, it's got that single dad aspect. I know I'm about to eat this up. Vibes are just so good. Like, they're short, they're sweet, they're funny, they're just great times. And I definitely recommend, if you have not picked up Done and Dusted, the first book, definitely pick it up. I think this one comes out in November. And then last but not least, for the new releases, I'm hoping to read Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter. So this is like the sequel, I guess you could say, to Better Than the Movies, which is a YA romance novel about Liz and Wes. It basically takes place like the first book of Liz's like senior year. She's going through a lot of stuff, and one of her childhood best friends like comes back to town because she's always had a crush on him, so she ends up like fake dating Wes, her childhood enemy. It's like a really cute, sweet book. I definitely recommend it. This is the sequel. This is the sequel. This is the sequel, so I think it takes place their freshman year of college, possibly. I think it's in Wes's point of view, or maybe it's dual point of view. I don't really remember. I think it comes out in either October or November, around that time. All right, so now it's just like a general TBR of books that I just like looked at my Goodreads list and was like, yeah, kind of want to read that. I'm a mood reader, so this will most definitely change probably like tomorrow. As I'm looking at my list, there is so much fantasy in here. No problem with that. I feel like fall, winter time is really, really great for fantasy and I just get really into the fantasy vibes. I still obviously read romance. All right, the first book I actually have a physical copy for. It's City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. So this is the first book in the Mortal Instruments series. There's a lot to the whole Cassandra Clare universe. If I want to get to the end, I have to start it eventually. I definitely want to start it this year, just get through the first book. I don't even know if I'm gonna like it. And all I know about this series or this universe is not much. I think it's like a modern day fantasy, like takes place in New York City. That's about it. I heard there is some interesting developments that you learn about. I'm not gonna say it, but I know of it, so I'll keep that in mind while reading. But I think there's like a love triangle, an epic love triangle in this. I don't know about this series, but maybe there's just a whole universe. I don't know. I'm very intrigued. I want to give it a try. Hoping I like it. All right, second book, which I'm actually like very, very excited to read, is A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. Yes, I have not finished the ACOTAR series. I love this series so much that I just didn't want it to end. But I'm like, I need to be over with. I need to be over with. This is the last book in the ACOTAR series that is out. Apparently she's writing a sixth book. I don't want to say what the two characters this follows, because I don't really want to spoil anything. I know that's a very long book. The two characters that it follows are not my favorite characters in the series. They're my least favorite characters. And I have no idea what the plot of this book even is, because I thought we were done with all like, you know, the really crazy intense stuff, but I guess not. All right, next up, this book has definitely become more popular in the last few months, and it's When the Moon Hatched by, I don't remember. I generally have no idea what this book is about. I tried to read summary, and then Sarah Caroli actually read it a couple months ago, and all I know is that it's something to do with politics. There's something to do with politics and these people, and I think there's dragons in it, and that's all I really know. But I've heard many good things. I think there's a romance in here. No idea. I know it's like 700 pages or something. All right, this next book I actually have a physical copy of, From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So I know nothing about this series. All I know is that it's spicy, and that's about it. I feel like this series is recommended a lot, and I just like very, very intrigued. It says, see perfect fans of Sarah J. Maas and Laura Thalahassa. I love both of those authors, so maybe this will be for me. Maybe not. Next up is another book that I've heard many things more recently about. It's called Lightlark. I don't remember who it's by. I have no idea what this series is about. I think it's a YA fantasy, and I don't remember if the love interest is like some like shadow welder or something like along those lines. All right, next up, The Veiled Kingdom. This was actually getting hype a couple months ago. I don't know if it got released or traditionally published. I'm not sure, but I saw a lot of people talking about it. Again, don't know what it's about, but I know it's a fantasy, and I know it's like 300 pages, and I know people were liking it. So again, I'm very intrigued. All right, a little break from the fantasy really quick. We have a romance. It's The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer. So this is the second book in the Vancouver Storm? I might have made that up. I didn't actually love the first book. I think I gave it like 3 out of 5 stars. It was not bad necessarily, but I just like wasn't obsessed. This second one, I can't remember if it's about the main character's sister from the first book or like her friend or something. And then the male main character, I think was like, used to be the best friend from the guy from the first book and then had a falling out or something. I'm not really sure. I think it's fake dating. I just heard so many good things about this book, and I love me a hockey romance if y'all don't know me. This next one, my 2 Harry Potter loving friends, we very excited. I'm putting the second Harry Potter book on this TBR. I read the first one in October or November of last year. And I don't know, guys, it was just so hard personally for me to get into. Both of my friends have been like, just gets better. The first 2 books are kind of more just like world building and all that stuff, and then it gets good. Be proud of me, guys. I'm going to try. Another romance book we have is Off to the Races by Elsie Silver. This is the first book in the Old Rush Ranch series. This is her first series that she ever wrote. It is a cowboy small town romance series. I think this might have to do something with horse racing, which I think is very intriguing. I did watch some horse stuff in the Olympics. I found it very entertaining. Love Elsie Silver. Will read anything she writes. Very excited about this. Just like a good old small town cowboy romance. I know I'm gonna eat these up. All right, guys, home stretch here. Not really. Next book I have is Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. This was her first series, and again, I know nothing about this. I read her Sons of Nyaxia series, and I think another book is coming out in that series this year. I read that series and really enjoyed it. I loved her writing style. I love her balance of like plot and romance. I thought it was really good. And I've heard many good things about this series as well, and I definitely want to go back and read it. Next up is another romance, Darling Venom by Parker S. Huntington. I don't know much about this book other than there are a lot of trigger warnings around it. I think it's about this girl who like was about to like, you know what I mean? And she ends up meeting this boy in the same place who's about to do the same thing. And they kind of spark up like friendship or like some kind of agreement that they'll meet in that same spot every year. I think one year he ends up not showing up. And I don't know if his brother shows up instead. I don't know how she ends up meeting the brother. But it's basically about that girl and the guy's older brother. And I heard it's a bit of like a darker romance. All right, next up I have Bride by Allie Hazelwood. So this is her like first take paranormal, I guess, romance. It's between a vampire and like a werewolf, and it's a marriage of convenience. That's all I know. It's giving like Halloween fall vibes. I definitely want to read it in October. The only thing I'm scared about is what I've heard about the spicy scenes and something to do with the wolf stuff. I don't know how I'll feel about that, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So the last fantasy I have is Fear the Flames. I actually have like the indie published version, but I know she's republishing it and adding a few scenes. I don't know if that will be on Kindle Unlimited. I might end up reading it on there. All I know about this book is the found family is good, the romance is good, and that there are dragons. One of my favorite booktubers, even hair reader, her name's Rachel, really likes this book. She gave it 5 stars and she just reread it and gave it 5 stars, and I like love her romantasy book recs. I really trust them. We'll see how it goes. This next book is a romance. When I went on my little trip at the beginning of July, we went to a Barnes that was up there. My friend pointed out this book. It was a Mia Sharon book. And she goes, "Oh, have you ever read this?" And I'm like, "No, I've never seen that." And I think it's a new release. So it's called Unwanted. What I know is I think it's like romance with some like suspense in it. So intriguing to me. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Just this cover is just giving like kind of like spooky vibes. First book in the Eden series, Indigo Ridge, was a little bit of a romantic suspense. That whole series has like romantic suspense elements in it, and I really enjoyed it. I haven't heard anything about it. I'm excited. And the last book, Savor It by Tahara Do It. This is giving September vibes to me. Don't ask why. I think it's just like a small town romance. She goes to the small town and I don't know how, but her ex ends up getting like engaged or something, and she might be invited to the wedding. So there's that plot. And then there's this guy who like a chef, and he got like fired or put on leave for something, and he has to come to this small town to just like figure some things out with like cooking and their neighbors. I don't know if it's fake dating or there has to be a fake date for the wedding. Not sure. But I feel like it could just be so fun and lighthearted. Just a good fall small town read. I mean, this cover is so beautiful. The last book on my end of the year TBR. That is my long TBR for the end of the year. There are many books that I did not mention. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to follow all my socials down below, along with my Goodreads and also wish list, stuff like that is linked in there if you want to check it out. Like, comment, and subscribe for more videos by me. And I will see you guys next week, I think already, for my September TBR. That's wild. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye!